The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is the Art of Politics. You know I love El Baldessaro. I mean, everybody knows I love El Baldessaro, but I beat him up so much that he had to take last week and this week. So he has sent in a second stringer, Bart Fromuth. I call him Fromuth because he looks like a martini stirred, not shaken. I mean, hey, Bart.
How you doing, Ken?
Representative.
Nice to see you again.
Also, we sit right across to each other and Commerce.
Commerce, that's correct.
Isn't it? It was an easy year this year.
Yeah, it was light lifting. So.
Yes, and we've only had probably two complicated bills.
If that. I mean, it's definitely a lighter load than last term. That's for sure. So I think we accomplished some good stuff last term, and then they probably started deviating some stuff away.
Yeah, get it away from us. Yeah. Geez, these guys are going to do something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get things done. And by the way, you are a Republican. I am a Democrat, and it's interesting that you and I we've talked. You've been on the show before. We've talked about that. Is that you and I got on one thing, and we really went at it.
Yes, we did.
At both of Republican and Democrat.
Yep.
And we lost.
We did. we lost pretty bad, but hey, we were doing the right thing. So I'm very proud of that. Was in the Administrative Supervision Act.
Yeah,
which got rid of a lot of right-to-know laws and so on.
Right to know. Let's get rid of the right-to-know laws.
Right. And then gave immunity to anybody that was involved in crashing an insurance company, which is a really bad idea.
Yes, there was an amendment to that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. that was quite a mess.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have another guest in here, by the way. I'm not going to mention her name, and I'm not even going to talk about her right now. We will as we go on. She was here. She was worried that I was going to be a bad person to her. That's not good. She wanted to bring someone else on to hold her hand, and this guy was aggravating, and I just said no. If you don't want to come on, you don't want to come on. I would treat everybody with respect. Would I treat everybody with respect?
Most of the time, yeah.
All right, okay, but I would have treated her with respect because she doesn't have the knowledge of this. I can sandbag anybody, right?
Well, she's a state rep. I think she's probably,
Well,
able to
she was
stay on her
a
toes.
Democrat, and she
saw the light,
Yeah,
I mean,
and by the way, talking about seeing the light, what were you telling me before we went on air that I should?
We were talking about how often you get hacked.
No, before. No, no. We won't go there. About a parking place.
No. That the Republican Party would love to have Ken Gidge join the ranks as well. So
you're the fourth one in like 48 hours.
Well, you said it was the third one. Just
no, you just did it again. You see,
so you counted me twice.
I counted you twice. You see, we talk personally. Now we're talking. And I would get a better parking spot?
I'm thinking I could talk to the speaker. We could see about a better parking spot for you.
One with a
One with
Vice chair, maybe?
Well, that's the license plate. We could move you
Oh,
right
your
next to the
license plate.
chairman of the committee because right now you're
Instead of where?
right now you're kind of in the boonies, so to speak,
yeah,
where
yes,
the commerce union
yes,
is,
yes.
which is odd because you're the second most senior
Yes.
Democrat,
Yes.
and it looks like they've passed you over by like 10 Democrats.
And John was really nice about it when he called because he wanted somebody else sitting beside him
Okay.
instead of me.
Yes.
Okay, and you know, this is kind of good for the people who vote for me
Yeah.
because they realize that I go after the Democrats as I go after the Republicans.
That's true. I would definitely agree with that.
You know, and
You're one of the few.
well, yes, and you just have to do that, and everybody would love me as a Republican.
Oh, I think you make sense as a Republican.
Yeah, it makes sense. I've been in Ward 6 for several lifetimes, you know, my father until he died. No. They'd shoot me. I'll tell you what, I've got so mad
Well, you'd still have a nice family split in the Gidge household in terms of representation.
Yeah.
One Republican, one Democrat up there at the State House.
That's
So I
right.
think that's a pretty representational of
Did I tell
the
you
entire
she-
country.
Did I tell you she knows how to throw knives?
You just
Right,
tell me that.
she's a good shot. No, you don't do that. If I ever got mad at the Democratic Party, and I am right now,
I know you are.
I'm mad because we don't have the House, we don't have the Senate,
You don't have anything.
we don't have right. And the fact is that we have the same management, without mentioning names, the same people. And you know, it's interesting because isn't a floor person supposed to get up and walk around and make sure that everybody's on the same, or at least email people? Do you know that they introduced them, and two of them I've never even seen before?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, we have the same problem on the Republican side of the channel.
You
so.
guys are so organized.
I would disagree with that. We got a pretty split caucus, but I mean, there's like 3 people in leadership. One's like an assistant majority leader. I've never even talked to them before. So some of those are, I think, ceremonial positions, if anything. So
Well, in this position, I think that you know, I'm the type of guy. Look, everybody should have a chance, right? You know, if you do good or try, but when you get to a point, you keep losing, and then you keep putting the same old people there. Somebody who won't speak up, who won't argue a little, who won't get up there, because we can. There's a few things that I think. For us to get some bills passed on the House floor before, you know, 400 full House,
yeah,
I think there's a few things that we probably could have gotten. I think there are a few people out there on a few matters, not many, that they would agree with. They were looking for some sort of an excuse to vote for, or it could be, and we
Don't
didn't.
like the budget.
Well, it's lots of stuff.
I mean, that was a nice budget by Democrat standards. I didn't vote for the budget, so.
I didn't either.
I didn't vote for the budget because I mean, it spent way too much money, in my opinion. Obviously, you probably had a different perspective on it than I did, but it was larger than Governor Hassan's budget the previous term, which many of my same colleagues on the Republican side called fiscally irresponsible. And then this term, they tack on like $200 or $300 million extra. And
Well,
all of a sudden, it's a compassionate budget.
Well,
so.
you know what I found out, and by the way, what a lot of people don't know is Sununu is an artist.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, muralist. He does. Okay, so
Do you have that connection?
yeah, that's it. That's it. You know, he will wave to me when I've seen you someplace before. But he put in.
You guys like do classes together or something?
No. He's not that dumb, you know. But he did put in what? Kindergarten.
Yeah, no, these are all, you know, again, I like the governor and, you know, he's part of my party, but a lot of the big initiatives that he has on his docket, you know, this term, things like all-day kindergarten and so on and so forth, been big Democrat ticket items. So I don't understand why there's not
It's
more.
interesting how all from the teachers to the parents to the educators
Yeah.
to everyone says that it does cost money.
It does.
But in a very short term, you know, when they grow up,
Well, here's
they don't run away. They stay here.
I don't think adding full day kindergarten. I mean, keep in mind, like 70% of the state already has full day kindergarten, so we're only adding it for a certain number of towns, and the towns are already paying for it.
Okay, so then why didn't you let it go?
Because here's my problem: is that the towns that wanted full day kindergarten already had it and voted it on themselves, paid for it themselves. I didn't understand why the state had to get involved with that.
Well, because these areas need a little bit of extra money coming in. I mean, you know it's fascinating that we're talking about something that some cities are doing.
Well, most.
Okay, if you take a look at the statistics of the cities doing, the cities not, you can tell all-day kindergarten is important. Very important. Kids get higher. Would you say the grades are a little higher? The IQs are a little better?
I'm not against kindergarten.
Well, do you know if they do or they don't?
I'm against like why this had to become such a massive issue when the vast majority of students in this state already have access to all-day kindergarten.
Then what's the problem?
Well, it's kind of like what the federal government does. They put grants into these different programs, and that leads the state of New Hampshire. No, listen. When you've offered,
you're the only guy who can get away with this, by the way.
but
go ahead.
Hear me out. When they go ahead and offer to the towns that don't currently have it in place and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and pay for that for you, it puts a lot of pressure on the town to say, well, geez, if it's offered for free, we might as well grab at it. Why not? It's free money. It's similar to what the federal government does to keep. No, please listen. Let me finish. You asked the question.
Excuse me.
I want to answer it.
All right. You're on the same subject, so I'm letting you. Go ahead.
But the federal government offers the states money for programs that maybe we wouldn't have opted to do otherwise. But since the money's there and it's not coming from our taxpayers, even though it is going back and forth.
What? I'm sorry, your time is up.
It creates this
What
perverse
you're
incentive.
saying is it's spending money. It's like and you don't want this to happen.
Again, I'm not opposed to towns paying for it themselves and voting it in, which most towns have already done.
What this man just said, I'm just going to, because I'm going to get at you a few things, but you didn't let me. What this man just said is that there are towns that already pay for it.
Yeah.
And I say, well, okay, if these towns already pay for it, then there's got to be some statistics of how this helps the children, gets them a little smarter with their grades, math grades. Some of them may be more in science. Do you know that statistics? Has anybody done the statistics?
Again, you're arguing as though I'm arguing kindergarten's a bad thing. I'm not trying to sit here and put down.
You can't have it both ways. Either you like it or you don't like it.
But see here again, you've lost sight of what I'm trying to argue for.
Excuse me, I lost sight. What you're trying to argue?
You asked me why I was against all-day kindergarten when almost 70% of the state of New Hampshire already has access to
So
all-day
what you're
kindergarten.
saying is that the
was
30%
kind of like
who don't have it, you don't want them to have it.
Well, if the towns wanted to have it, they could have just voted for it themselves. That's what I'm failing to understand why the state had to get involved.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
If 30% would need it, just 30%, 70, why would you argue, anybody sensible would argue that kids with a little bit more of a head start, with a little better language, numbers, maybe more interest starting off, quicker, longer, better, and you say no against children and parents? And
Again, I just didn't see this clamor for those communities that opted not to have it on their own to come rushing in and say this is something we absolutely have to have.
why are you Republicans like this?
And number two, the other problem I have too is that most of the argument that was made was that this is going to be great for the workforce. We're freeing up parents to go to work.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
No. So,
Excuse me. That just happens to be one of the benefits of it.
So I'm coming at it from a perspective of like absolutely that there are parents that would love not to pay for extremely high daycare costs and so on and so forth, send their kids to a place where they can feel safe while the parent's off getting a job or working. That's absolutely correct. But the problem is that there just simply aren't enough resources for the government to solve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to really, come on now, you got to, what you're saying is 30% of the people
Let me finish.
do not have full kindergarten. No.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
I'll let you finish it, but let me just get up to the point so everybody understands what you're talking about.
Sure. It's your show.
All right. It should make a difference. It doesn't usually make a difference with you.
Well, in Bedford, we
All right.
can't talk politics.
You brought up a good point.
Yes, what's that?
They stood up and they said something that's very important.
Who did?
The Democrats, you just said that. They stood up and they said part of the benefit is the parents.
Well, that was
can
the
go
argument
get
that was
it up.
made by Republicans too. I don't want to give you guys a
All right, okay.
trademark on that.
But let me just say something about that.
Yeah.
If an individual stood up and mentioned that, that's okay.
Yeah.
But that should not be the main reason. And I think
that was the main reason.
it shouldn't have been. And when you get up and you have a good argument, is that yes, the kids have a babysitter, but how about the kids being more educated? That's the way I look at it.
So you and I probably aren't too far off on this issue. My issue with the Republicans and the Democrats that use this as a tool to inspire more activity in the workforce and less worrying about daycare concerns.
Anything wrong with that?
But listen, follow me on this. Is if that argument's used for kindergarten, you still have this gap of basically being born until 5 years. So someone could say, well,
being
geez,
born till 5 years.
No, so basically cradle to kindergarten age. So the next issue is
Whoa. What do you mean cradle?
So my point being, Ken, is that yes, you've solved that helping the workforce out with the now they can send it to all-day kindergarten, so you don't have to pick up the kid until 5, 9 to 5 work hours. That mother or that father can now go to work versus either a half-day kindergarten or not having a kindergarten option in their town. I'm saying that now, if you're using the workforce argument going forward, it's a slippery slope because next term they're going to show up and say, well, geez, why don't we provide state-funded daycare for everybody?
You know something? This is where I'm going to stop you because I never let anybody go to jump over to another subject, and you did it. You did it very well. You snuck it in. You're good. But hold on a second. You are projecting of what could happen. What is taking place?
I'm not disagreeing with your argument. Your argument is one that I find I find more commonality with. When you say you're worried about them getting a better education, I can sympathize with that. I see where you're coming from. You're not making the argument that this is some sort of magic wand to help the workforce.
No, and it should be that this happens to be just something extra.
But Republicans have been selling this as this is going to significantly help the workforce. And my point being is if you keep on looking at it through that prism, you inevitably end up at daycare next as being the next state-funded, state-provided service to all parents.
Gee, does that be bad? Would that be bad?
Well, I'm not opposed to helping people, but you have to look at it realistically in terms of how much can the government actually do.
Yeah, why don't we look at it realistically? Why don't we look at it? Are we not doing enough for our
I would
our
love
people,
everybody.
our-
I would love everybody in the state of New Hampshire to have guaranteed $100,000 a year take-home pay. I mean, like where do you?
That's a little different. $100,000 in kindergarten.
My point being,
That's how you guys do it.
what do you mean?
It's kindergarten. Oh, he'll want a job for $100,000. You can't have kindergarten.
No, but my point being is that you if you start looking to the state as the magic wand to solve all problems for all people, you really start to go over a fiscal cliff.
We're talking about kindergarten. We're not talking about problems for all.
No. And we got past kindergarten, and then we started talking about the state providing state-funded daycare for everybody.
Okay.
And it's a parent of 2 small children that sends his children to very, very expensive daycare. I can sympathize with why people that would be attractive to
Has
folks.
anybody ever done the numbers? Because I'm becoming a number person. I don't know why. I just woke up one day and said I can lie with numbers, and nobody can figure it out. Has anyone ever done the numbers of the parents going out and working, okay, as the children are in all-day kindergarten? Financially, what does this do for the state? Does it pay for itself? If you looked at it in those terms, in other words, if 2 parents have a job, there's taxes being paid, there's goods being paid. Has anybody ever looked at that?
I can't speak to what numbers I've seen where there's a direct correlation between all-day kindergarten and a lower unemployment rate. That's what you're getting at.
Whoa! I didn't even think about that.
Well, that's where you would look
so
at that.
no, hold on a second. So the towns that didn't have kindergarten, the parents would have to stay home.
No, or they could just send them to daycare. I mean, that's.
Oh, how much does daycare cost?
I spend probably about $1,000 a month per kid.
Can you put my camera on me? This gentleman spends $1,000 a month per. How many children you got?
I got 2.
He has 2 children.
Yep.
$2,000, $24,000 a year. That's a college education.
Yeah,
For
expensive.
child care.
Expensive.
So, and you're saying that the families in the New Hampshire shouldn't have kindergarten because they should pay for it? Who can afford $1,000 a month?
Well, it's extremely hard to. Both my wife and I work, so I mean, it's hard to afford a lot of stuff.
Well, how about the parents who can't afford $1,000 a month per kid? Then what?
I mean, hopefully there's some other options. I know that there's a lot of unlicensed daycare providers out there as well, and they tend to be a lot cheaper.
I would like to see the numbers of. You brought up a good point, and it's very complicated. I'd like to see the numbers of kids going to kindergarten. All right, first of all, the IQ.
Yeah.
Then I would like to see the ramifications of parents going to work. I would like to see what they bring in for, let's say, money or to the taxes.
Well,
then let's turn around and say nobody can afford $1,000 a month except you.
I mean, again, both my wife and I work, and it's extremely expensive in addition to everything else. And you know, I
$250 a week.
it's expensive, yeah. So, but
Would you leave them there overnight?
no. I mean, you know, there's times when you know my mother or her mother will help out, and that will alleviate some days. So some months will be like 1,600 instead of 2,000. But you know, I feel I'm fortunate because I have a good job that you know takes care of a lot of the bills, and my wife is a nurse and she makes some decent money. But you're absolutely right. For a lot of people that are
I know you.
yeah.
Okay. I like you, I respect you, we argue back and forth. But you have to admit that $1,000 a month.
I'm agreeing with you. But so part of the problem is
now
that,
I got a question. If they had all day kindergarten, you wouldn't spend $2,000 a month.
No, that would be right back in my pocket.
Then what would you do with it?
I'd probably spend it on some of it on higher taxes to pay for
So this means that it's money into the state?
money into the state. How?
Well, I mean, you got the money coming in.
No. So I would agree.
Out.
I would agree that the immediate effect for someone like myself, who has 2 small children of the daycare age, like it would be an absolute benefit to me and my wife to not have to pay that cost. However, take a look at the slice of the population here in New Hampshire that has kids of the daycare age, and then you're asking the rest of the population that doesn't benefit from that to foot the tab. So essentially, you're subsidizing me and other people like me by putting on the backs.
Yes, but you're not. You know, that's a nice argument. The problem is if you save the $2,000. Okay, you're saving the $2,000. A person out there.
You and your wife, you don't. Like you get no benefit from the national school system, you get no benefit from the national daycare, you get no benefit from national daycare for yourselves. But yet your tax rates for your home would go up, so you're paying for more services that you, as the constituent,
representative. That's part of the deal. But when I hear a representative sitting here saying that they pay $1,000 a month. Okay.
Well, I mean, I also live in Bedford, so hopefully it's not.
All right, so that's $2,000 a month.
Right.
For children.
Yes.
$500 a week. Some of these people who need daycare don't make $500 a week.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
So their children would be better educated? And the byproduct is they can get a job?
I wouldn't necessarily say that they're better. I mean, some of these daycare places are fantastic in terms of like teaching, kids.
I've never heard someone paying $500.
It's expensive. I mean, again, that's for 2 kids. That's not per kid. That's for 2 kids. So it's $250 per kid.
That's what I said, $500 a week.
Right. But I mean, then you said I've never heard anybody paying $500. And I've heard of a lot of people having to pay that much.
Some people don't make $500 a week.
Inevitably, what ends up happening for a lot of folks is that, one of the spouses, the husband or the wife decides to stay home for a couple of years and watch the kids.
We're going to change the subject, but I think I'd like people to think, and you may have the last word on it. I'd like people to think this. Here is a representative sitting here who's a good guy. He works hard. I know that. Who can afford $500 a week to give money to for daycare.
Yeah.
70% of the state already has daycare,
Has kindergarten.
right? Kindergarten,
None of
excuse me.
the state,
All right, kindergarten, right?
Right.
All right. So they're not spending the $500 a week. So they're going out and earning money.
Kindergarten's only
No.
for
I'll let you
1
have
year.
I'll let you have the last. I'll let you have the last word on this.
I just
on
want to
this
make sure
subject.
your numbers got all of a sudden, but kindergarten for 1 year. So unless they have twins, they're only paying maximum like about $250 a week. So for that one child,
But you got two.
they're not twins, so they're not going to be in kindergarten at the same time. That's what we're talking about right now. You just
Excuse me. Then what you're saying, it won't cost as much
oh, it costs as much
because you
what?
won't have two kids in at a time.
Because kindergarten's for 1 year. I'm saying where the real expense to the state comes in is when we start to look at expanding for state-covered daycare facilities.
You know, but I'll tell you what. What we have been doing is we have been talking about the money of this.
Yeah.
And this is the Republican, hey, it's the money, honey. And I agree with them. But when it comes to
Yeah.
getting a child one step ahead of, you know, everyone, in a sense, a little more educated,
Yeah.
better off, you know, and kids who are more educated stay in school, stay out of trouble, all right? And what you're saying is, no, we shouldn't do that. I think
That's not
this
what I
differently.
said. That's not what I said at all. And again, I just want to make very clear that most of the communities in New Hampshire have already gone forward and done this over the years. I just found it odd that the state comes in and says, all right, we're just going to go ahead and just offer you this money to close the gap and make it 100% full-day kindergarten across the board. For those towns, the town still doesn't have to take it. I mean, the town could opt out of it if they wanted to. But why would you if the money's there from the state and you're just giving it away at that point in time?
Well, if the money happens to be there, the children are pretty important. Okay, that's it.
But again, so just like
But you're
final,
spending $500 a week.
but-
People can't afford
but-
$500 a week.
and again,
That's ridiculous.
I don't disagree with
You
you.
got twins?
I don't have twins.
Well, okay, all right.
But I don't disagree with you that it is extremely hard to afford. There are some places that, again, if you take a look at the licensing requirements, I think it's like the daycare facility has to have one teacher to every 4 kids under their care. Like, there's all sorts of state mandates in place that make daycare very, very expensive. So there's other ways for us to look at this and alleviate some of the costs of daycare, which has also given rise to the popularity of unlicensed daycare that has popped up throughout the state. But when you talk about like, oh,
when
this
you
issue,
get unlicensed daycare popping up, it's because there's a need for daycare.
oh, Ken, it's because of the fact that it's cheaper to run an unlicensed facility than it was a license.
All right, okay. We're going to move on. I think we ought to move on. Yesterday, your party got rid of the Obama and put in the Trump bill. Now, I'll read a couple things.
Oh, great. Hand-prepared notes.
24,000 people losing insurance. Oh, wait.
No,
wait.
it's 20.
They have insurance.
you're-
They just can't afford it.
No, your Democrat talking points are 24 million people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
24. All right, 24. And by the way, this is what I really love about this. I love Republicans. They say it's health care.
Yeah.
What the hell was $600 billion tax thing in there?
You have to be more specific.
What? You haven't read it?
Have I read the entire bill? Absolutely not.
Yeah, and you want to know something?
What?
I haven't found anyone who's admitted that they have read the whole bill and they voted on it.
I mean,
These are Republicans.
okay, but again, we're state representatives, so I'm not involved in passing the ACHA or whatever it's called now. But again, this
Don't
this
come
reminds
on,
me-
you come on now.
What?
You got it.
No, but this reminds me of and again, I don't want to be a broken record, but Pelosi, we have to pass it before we know what's in it. I mean, I just find it funny that now all of a sudden Democrats are all about transparency.
You know something? Come on now. You pass a bill. There's not one public meeting.
I don't know that there was.
Well, that's true. Because
sometimes you just say
17
stuff.
months to do Obamacare.
Yeah.
All right. They pass it. But in this bill, there was a $600 million tax break.
So I think what you're talking about
No. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
are some of the health care taxes that Obama put in the ACA. So what the Republicans did was remove taxation on your health plan.
Tax break for the wealthy of $600 million.
The wealthy? No, that's inaccurate.
Till
Do you know that everybody, whether you
2020,
if you pay your plan directly, you're paying taxes directly. If you pay through your employer is paying taxes on top of your plan. That goes into the premiums that you're contributing.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Well, you just said you didn't read the bill.
No, but when you're talking about the tax, I do know that from the taxes that got taken out, you had the medical device tax that was taken out. You had the Obamacare excise tax that was removed.
And that's right, it was taken out. Now you got nothing. What do they got?
What do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, and by the way, they also
But do you understand how ludicrous it is?
$900 million that will be taken out of Medicare. Oh, and by the way, if you're 55 to 65, you're going to pay $15,000 a year for insurance. Hey, let's beat up on the old people.
So say that again. I'm sorry. You went from the ACA into Medicare all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, you couldn't get the numbers. 900 million didn't go over your head. This is so screwed up.
But again, I do want to impress upon you how ludicrous it is to run around the country, say everybody has the right to health insurance.
Yes.
And then but then you tax people on that mandated plan. That's ludicrous.
Everybody has the right to health insurance.
It's just like when you and your party came up with the payroll tax.
Excuse me, where are you? What? Are you in commerce, banking, and insurance?
Yes.
We're going to talk about a bill that came in yesterday. Okay, all right. We don't have an insurance problem. We have an insurance company problem. We don't have a medical drug problem. We have a people who make it problem.
When you and your friends had your big sweeping victories in 2008, why did you all get together and solve this big sweeping insurance company problem? I mean, you've left us a pile of flaming mess to deal with.
If I remember, we couldn't even get a person into the Supreme Court, which was one freaking year.
I'm talking about 2000.
We couldn't get anything done.
If we're going to be honest with the viewers right now, just not play the political game where we defend our parties and they're so fantastic.
Why?
Because they're not that fantastic. They're
right.
2008 though, 2010, you guys had complete control. You guys put a plan in place that was predicated upon the fact if we make everybody get insurance, just because the insurance pool is going to get so large, that will bring down everybody's rates because the subsidies will be across the board, and we're going to get so many more young people in. Wait, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then, so that idea may have worked, but the problem is that you guys got cold feet because you didn't want to penalize young people for not getting health insurance through their IRS tax returns. So Obama kept on delaying the penalties and kept on delaying the penalties, and a lot of people kept on not getting insurance. So what happened? Premiums started to go up and up and up and up and up. You
know, this is so garbage.
It's not garbage.
Yeah, it is. It's all garbage, and it's the simple reason is you don't get 20 million people on insurance and use the excuse that, hey, gee, they didn't. The insurance companies said they couldn't make any money. Like hell, they make a ton of money. I don't understand any insurance companies going out of business. That's the
beauty of government.
$10,000.
You can't pass a law. You can't pass a law, make it mandatory to get health insurance, and then pat yourself on the back when you improve the number of people that have health insurance. It's against law not to have health insurance.
$10,000 copay.
For what? What are we talking about?
Some people who have insurance have to pay $10,000, and now they're going to take people off the kids or the elderly people who have an ongoing condition. They're going to take them off.
I don't know what kind of.
Wait, I'm sorry, they're not going to take them off. They're going to charge them $114,000 a year for a person on cancer as a copay.
I don't know what kind of fantastic Cadillac plan of insurance you're on right now. I get mine through my company. My wife had 2 babies, since the ACA has been in place. I have $5,000 deductible. We had to pay $10,000 out of pocket for each pregnancy. Like health insurance has only gotten worse. You get worse care. You pay higher premiums for it. Like there's nothing good about what's in place.
You know something, ladies and gentlemen.
I just want to make sure that you're telling the viewers out there. Well, they know through their own personal experiences.
But my viewers have also heard me argue with Bill O'Brien, who, with a supermajority, they made it illegal for New Hampshire to form an insurance exchange. So what happened, and by the way, he didn't know this was going to happen because he told me he thought the federal government was going to take care of New Hampshire. In comes an insurance company, takes it over because it's illegal for us here. They eliminate one of the hospitals in Nashua. They lost their doctors. They lost their hospitals because, right? Who did that? Was that Obamacare? No, it was the Republicans in the state of New Hampshire who hated Obama and would do absolutely everything, anything that they could do to destroy it. And you want to know something? They did. And New Hampshire did a great job.
So again, before you just go off, on this little attack on Republicans, I mean, New Hampshire does have for its health insurance more mandates than any other state in the country. So you want to talk about why insurance rates are so high here in New Hampshire as compared to Maine or Connecticut. It's because of the fact that we have our own list of state mandates that we put on top.
All right, how many insurance companies in the United States do you know?
There's like 4 that I know of.
35.
Well, I'm just like 4 I could rattle
How many
off.
insurance companies can handle the entire country?
I don't know.
Do you think that they should? So there's only 4. So there's really no competition.
But this is coming from my friend.
Have you heard of any competition?
No, there's no competition.
Okay, so if we only got 4 that can do it, and it's the same price, where's the competition?
But says the guy that consistently votes against allowing people to buy over state lines every year.
Like hell.
You voted against that bill twice.
You know something? That is so dumb.
Why?
There's no competition. It doesn't make any difference. You say you can buy over state lines.
Yeah.
We're not letting people do that. You're saying there will be competition. There's not going to be any. There's only 4 insurance companies in this country. Hey, I'll tell you what. You want competition? Why don't we let Canada bid on our health care?
What do you mean?
Whoa. Canada is an entire...
Should U.S. citizens be able to buy prescriptions from Canada?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we're on the same page.
Yes.
You realize your friends like Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker...
No, they don't.
They voted against that.
No, they don't.
They voted against that.
No. If you really want competition, because I've been thinking about this.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, all right.
You got the brain working?
No, it works a little at night. It's called what? Automatic writing. I wake up and okay. But I was thinking, if you really want competition,
Yeah.
all right, and it sounds kind of funny, but it's not. Why don't we have international competition? Why can't we purchase health care from Canada? And by the way, health care from Canada is good.
You're talking about health insurance from Canada.
Yeah, correct. Well, in a sense.
So, and
you go to Canada.
I'm certainly not an expert on the insurance aspect of stuff, but from what I understand from talking to people at hospitals and insurance companies, but mostly the healthcare providers, is that they negotiate directly with the insurance companies on all sorts of pricing and stay minimums and maximums.
Excuse me, and drugs.
Oh, drugs, yeah, absolutely. So what happens is
that we spend 10.
So Anthem has like a total chokehold on the state because they've got all these contracts in place with these hospitals.
Because
they're
the Republicans made it illegal to form an insurance exchange.
I think on that note, I would have to say New Hampshire's population.
Kenny's right, and let's move on to another subject.
I would say
you don't like Anthem. You're right. You're right about Anthem.
Well, it's just they basically have a monopoly, So when we bring in these
awful.
Other carriers.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It's awful because Oh,
So
you guys voted that
again,
it was illegal for us to do it.
before I go
So
and
we let an
argue,
insurance
before I
company
go
do
and
it.
argue that point, I wasn't in the House when that 300-person majority was. So I'd like to go back and at least fact check that before I start. Because sometimes you like to just throw stuff against the wall, and if I'm not prepared to debate it, then you just declare victory.
You could go. Hey, people have watched me long enough to know that I've already had this argument 9 times. I can't remember. Oh, Al. I'm talking with Al. I love Al, right?
Yep.
And I get him so mad that I'll throw numbers out.
Yeah.
That mean nothing, really. They mean nothing. And he'll go, but the other day he went, that's not true. I said, Al, you caught me. You're getting better. But no, the big thing is that when I hear you, if it wasn't you, I'd call you a snob. If it wasn't you, because you can afford $6,000 a year, $500 a week. There are people who can't afford $500 a week.
Yeah, but again,
Kindergarten has the result of letting people get jobs. Okay, I understand, but it also gets the kids smarter. But there is a cost.
But so here's my again, and both my wife and I work, so it's not as though like
I'm not calling you a snob.
well, yeah, but I mean, I just
But
want to
people out there know I'm saying he got $500 a week. What the hell is it?
Well, again, it's not like there's probably a lot of people out there paying comparable, or $400 a week for their kids. If they have 3 kids, they're definitely paying more than $500 a week. So I think a lot of people.
But if they were in kindergarten,
well, I mean, again, like
And
what
the kids get smarter.
what daycare probably cost, when you were raising your son, probably a lot different than today's standards, and that's probably some sticker shock to you. But I don't feel that the daycare places I'm sending my kids to are really like all that expensive. I've looked at other places that are ridiculous that we can't afford, and put them where I think
okay, last word, you've got it. Question: amendments for 2 representatives who did some really or said some stupid things. Listen, I'm not going to mention their names. Was it dumb enough? Was that dumb?
Was it
The
dumb
amendments to look and to investigate them.
everybody knows who we're talking about. I don't care.
I don't mention the names. I don't do that. I don't think that's fair. Talking about rape, it's okay to rape. I mean, come on.
So the representative on the Republican side that got in trouble. I certainly I have my own feelings about him, but if you go back and you look at some of the things that were taken out of context, they were having a debate on this very misogynistic site. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah, what the hell was he doing there?
No, but so
rapists find having sex by raping a woman nice?
Again, no, that's not what he said. He said some really creepy stuff elsewhere where he talked about like filming, his partner because he was worried about being accused of a crime. He talked about, basically just kind of sounded like someone that like.
Do you think you're going to throw him out?
I don't know what they're going to do.
What do you think? What would you do?
So many things like this have come up, and I just, the voters put us in, the voters take us out. So if the voters...
No. We have to have a level of decorum. We have to have a level of consciousness.
Everyone was calling for Al to resign after the Hillary Clinton comments.
Yeah, me too. Right here.
But the voters of Londonderry sent him right back. I mean, like immediately after he said it.
I got news for you. He was worried. Yeah, let me tell you, this guy was worried that he wasn't going to get in.
But the voters of Londonderry still sent him back. I mean, it's listen.
Look how he looks. He pulls on the guy's driveway at 4 o'clock in the morning, honks the horn, says, "Hi, I'm Al. Make sure you vote for me." He's got his gang floating around.
So
come on,
let me finish making my point. Anyway, so it's not someone I want my daughters. I've got 2 daughters hanging around with. But again, like there's all these comments being made that he's like pro-rape. If you look at the conversation he's having, they were having a discussion about something called absolute truth. Are you familiar with that concept of absolute truth?
And so he told the absolute truth.
So like an absolute truth, I mean, an avenue he should have gone down probably is to say all cancer is bad, okay? And then someone plays devil advocate.
So all rape is bad.
So that's the conversation.
And how about the guy with the breastfeeding of women should assault them? Do you think, what about that guy?
Again, I'm not.
I don't even know if it's a Democrat or a Republican.
He's a Republican. We call it.
And the other one is a Republican?
Nipplegate.
There we go.
Nipplegate.
There we go.
I was
What do you
involved in
think?
Nipplegate
What do you
too,
think
but,
about that?
No, I just like people say really, really stupid stuff. I'm not going to go ahead and make a comment about, him or the other representative that like made comments that she was homicidal. Basically, was like daydreaming of being like an active shooter in the state house because she didn't like how a bill got voted on. Like, yeah, it bothers me that she makes those comments. It bothers me some of the other stuff that she says. But, if there was a vote to kick her out of the house, I probably would vote no. I mean, it's free speech. It's this other,
Yeah, I know, but you're correct. But we have to be held at a little higher level.
Yeah, but there was
as much as the people keep voting for me, they know that.
You say that, but we have a lot of people that are in the state house
who are not,
who are leaders in both of our parties who have gotten in some serious trouble over the years.
Name them.
I'm not going to name them. You said we can't name people on this show, but we got both.
I wouldn't let you.
But for whatever reason, they get a pass on their past activities. And this guy, the Republican, spouting off on this blog 5 years ago, saying some really stupid stuff because he, basically couldn't realize why women didn't like him. Well, I get some ideas as to why women don't like him. But, and then you got your friend over there on your side of the aisle who takes every opportunity.
I agree with you.
But then there's an article in the Concord Monitor yesterday from one of your buddies saying that rape culture is pervasive in the state house because of one.
Who said that? That's not names.
Well, I'll tell you after the show. But yeah, one of your friends.
I'll tell you what. I'll find out who it is. I'll invite him on. If they say no, I'll mention the person's name.
Well, but it's just like
That's not right.
Like one person has an issue, so you just paint everybody with one brush.
Well, it brings me up to a good thing.
What?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm always ready.
All right. Well, I'm going to write something, and we're going to be talking to all the news media on Monday and Tuesday. Why? Would you like some good news about representatives?
Sure.
Do you know a senator named French?
Yeah, Harry.
And do you know a representative named Gidge?
Yes.
Well, Representative French and Gidge, and I'm a minority owner, own in this city, Nashua, a Jackson Pollock silkscreen. In other words, you can make more Jackson Pollocks. Original.
You got. We
Senator, have it.
You got Senator French to buy that with you.
We have this. Okay.
Did you originally buy it?
So this is too good. Wait a minute. This is
and then you brought in Frenchie as your halves.
Story. It's a good story, isn't it? Isn't this a better story?
I'm trying to figure out because I remember you telling me that you had access to one, and then so just tell me when.
I became a minority owner. That means he makes the most money. All right.
Watch out for French. He's
No, but it's in Nashua, and I thought that was good news, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Two great people, Republican and Democrat, owning a small opportunity together.
What do you small opportunity?
A big opportunity.
Excuse me.
Hey, dream big. You just said it. All you could do with it was just make more Jackson Pollock. So it wouldn't be originals, right? I mean, I can go print off a Jackson Pollock.
Excuse me.
Explain to me why.
What would you pay
I'm not an art guy. It'd be like me talking electricity to you.
If there was 20 of these made, and you had $10-15 million, and then the silk screen was going to be retired, and his name is not about it, he signed it.
I mean, it's going to be retired.
Meaning you're not going to make any more, and there's only going to be 20. What's the value of that?
You're the art guy.
$1 million?
You think so?
Yeah. Well, listen.
I guess your next couple of campaigns are funded.
Original just sold for $180 million. So a copy of an original.
Here's what you can do for me. Tell me what a silk screen is to start off with.
All right. Okay. A silk screen is taken from the original painting.
Okay.
It is done in such a way that it's very complicated. That when it's up, you can take it and put it down on canvas again and then go over it with paint. That's
Okay.
how the silk screening does. It's a lot more complicated. And what this does, it gives you the absolute original, not paper, not a copy of something else. This is it. Then is the original is in France. But anyway, I thought that was a better story. What do you think?
That is a good story.
All right.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And I thought, and let's talk about a couple things.
Sure.
We had a bill come in. As we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
So complicated. What was it?
The new family trust bill.
New family trust bill
Yeah.
with an amendment.
Yeah.
And somebody else said that they're coming in with another bill that might have something to do with this.
I don't remember that part, but I
All right,
wouldn't be
okay.
surprised.
And then the banking commissioner came in and said, if this passes, I cannot, as a banking commissioner or the banking commissioners, help the citizens in the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, but I mean, again, this one, like, and it's a big bill. It's like, I don't know, it's like 70 pages long. Or
Oh, yeah, and they want it all done by when?
like next week.
Yeah.
So,
Excuse me, are you going to let them do that?
well, I got to read it first. But what my initial reaction on some of the stuff, like I said before, kind of raises my my antennas a little bit. However, the concept of the family trust, we're talking usually about like extraordinarily wealthy people, and your Rockefellers, your DuPont, stuff like that, who have
Until they went down to $50,000. It used to be $250,000 to get this trust. Now they're down to $50,000.
Like these people, generationally speaking, don't really have the same concerns that the rest of us
And
have.
there's only 4 states in the United
but
States.
I'm not terribly concerned about whether or not like the ultra wealthy get regulatory oversight over their own family trust. I mean, it just does. Like, who am I protecting? I don't really care what happens to the Bill Gates Foundation.
Okay.
I'm just being honest. I
Sure.
don't.
Sure. So if you have a trust, you can run it the way you want.
Yeah, if it's a family. If
Yeah,
you're
it's a family.
running trusts
So
for
if the family
if you're running trusts for other
wants
people,
to sue another person and believes the money is in New Hampshire, the banking department cannot help them.
again, it's a squabble between, like, if the Gidge family had a Gidge family foundation or trust, that would be a battle between the Gidges. That would be a Gidge problem.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Anyway, they're talking about billions, etc. Look, I can't let 40 or 50 or 60 pages go through. They're going to have on Tuesday, they're going to have what is called a subcommittee. And Laurie Sanborn's going to run it, and she likes it, so she's going to try to push it. When you have a banking commissioner come in and say, hey.
He testified in favor of the bill. He was there in favor of it.
He didn't come in. No. He
was in favor.
He can't do that. He can
I know they're not,
say what he likes and what he doesn't
I know
like.
they're not supposed to do that.
When he looks at me and then he looks at everyone else and says, it could possibly turn into a FRM bill.
Amongst family members.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, all right. So anyway, that's something. And, it's interesting because this is so important. Could be important for the state and to bring big money in, but
I'm
yet
sure
it
there's
can
like a
be
big
so
donor.
dishonest.
I'm sure there's like a big donor or a couple big donors out there that gave money to the right people on both sides of the aisle, and that's why they're pushing this thing through, is because someone with a lot of wherewithal wants to do
Well, we
something
do
differently.
want to protect. We do want to protect the citizenry, and I can't say that all of New Hampshire or my Ward 6 people can be protected. In fact, I haven't even seen something, if these go belly up here in New Hampshire, somehow New Hampshire's not responsible for it. Have you seen that anywhere?
Again, I haven't read the entire bill yet, so we still have about a week before we have to vote on it. So.
Well, I took it over to some people who said it would take us about 2 or 3 days to read it and to figure it out, right? They just happened to be the people I went to that wouldn't do the bill because they didn't like it, and they're in upper government people, without mentioning any names, of course.
Right.
All right, put the camera on me. I want to talk about something. A Democrat, nice lady, I love her, was a Democrat who decided to become a Republican. Okay, fine with me. She comes to the Democratic Party meeting, the biggest one we had. She votes, less than 24 hours later, she turns around and becomes a Republican. In other words, sort of like everything the Democrats know, the Republicans now know. Then she's voted in by Democrats to go and be Hillsborough County, the Hillsborough County Commission / all right. Now she is a Republican, and by law, it is sort of even. In other words, if there are more Republicans in power, then they have more than Democrats. A Democrat becomes a Republican. She didn't want to leave. And we go, that's not right. Now, a good Republican said, I'll solve it. I'll leave. You can take my job. So she goes, all right, I'll leave. It's no problem. I'll leave. Okay. We find out she's going to leave. Yeah, because can take somebody else's place. And then she is doing something with the city, as being the liaison between the state and the city. And the Democrats again put her up, again got her in, and now she won't leave that because she doesn't have to. Anyway, it's so petty, so small of anyone to do this. She was supposed to be here today, and she wanted to bring Representative LeBron on, who couldn't keep his mouth shut, because if he could have, she'd be sitting here, and she would be treated with respect, because you know that I can cut people up one way or another. I've done this long enough.
Oh, I know.
All right. I would treat her with respect. And for her to think anything other than that bothers me. And no, she's not allowed back. And no.
Lifetime ban?
No, I love her, absolutely. As much as I love her, what she has done to the Democrats, and we only have a majority here in the city, what she has done, the chaos of doing this is not correct. But she was supposed to be here. She wouldn't be here. I had my friend Bart coming in. They wanted to bring someone else in, sort of to protect her. I said, no, I'm going to treat you good, and she runs away. So shame on her. That's it. How can people get in touch with you?
My email account is rep.bartfromuth@gmail or bart@voteforbart.com. You can go to my website at www.voteforbart.com. Again, I represent Hillsborough 7, Bedford. So I don't think we reach up there, but hopefully I'm making some good inroads in case I ever run for a Nashua seat.
Yeah, so. I will definitely argue about it. And my name is Ken Gidge, and you can get me through Gidge World. I'm on Facebook. Friend me. I'm everywhere.
But don't hack you.
Yes, I've been hacked. We were talking about that earlier. Now, I'm really happy you came because we have a good time.
We do.
We
do. Also, thanks for having me. So
huh?
I said I appreciate
and
everything.
By the way,
like.
you do other shows. You do a show for.
I do. I used to do a show in Bedford, but there's no free speech up there on the television.
No free speech.
Yeah. So I have to go over to Goffstown.
This is the place.
Yeah,
to do
this
it.
is the place to do it. So
All
you're
right.
in Goffstown. So
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Everybody listening, watching, thank you very much.
preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.